Nothing made me think. The show just made me feel. And that's why I'm here. A story like this is not only extremely important to be told, of course, but it's just when you, through entertainment, really make a difference to my core. For me, that's like a great success, you know, and that's what I felt when I watched it. I'm purely speaking as an audience. So what I took away as an audience is what I expect the audience to take away as well. And I'm not going to give too many adjectives out because then, you know, I'll ruin the experience. But definitely it's going to be an emotional ride, a thrilling one, an entertaining one. You learn a lot along the way, and many, many favorite moments will stay with you long after.
I'll say the most eloquent moment I had was when I was with one of the wildlife crime fighting biologists in Kerala. And we had driven about 13 hours to a spot where you know that any given night you're going to find a wild Asian elephant eating clay off the bed of a river. It's like candy for them. And they come every night out of the forest and eat there and go off. So if you just go and sit there and wait, they'll come. And it's the only place in India. Asian elephants are incredibly wild and they don't like human beings. So you don't want to encounter them ever. It's like Medusa, you just don't want to see them because they're going to react badly. And this was the one place that they're fine with you watching. So we went and we sat all night and we waited. And at 2 in the morning, a mother and a baby came out of this bush, which is impenetrable by humans. They came out, quietly went to the spot and just started eating. And at some point they look up and they see you and they just keep going. And so we're sitting there quietly. And along the time we're waiting, I'm still interviewing, asking questions about the case. Now multiply this by 1,000. That's my research experience. I think there's a lot of humor in Poacher. Personally, my humor at least, which is by the by humor. You have to kind of pay attention to find it. But these crime fighters are very funny people. So I've tried to incorporate it.
Yeah, I mean, the stuff that happens with them, it's weird.
It's weird. It's
strange,
very,
and it
very
actually
weird.
happened. Firstly, the personality that I am, I'm a true Piscean, so I'm extremely and highly sensitive. And that's the way I approach anything that I take on as a storyteller, whether it's acting or a story that I want to be a part of as an executive producer, or a story that I create from scratch as a producer, which I maybe did with a film called Darlings, which released last year.
2 years?
Yeah, 2 years ago, yeah. Again, but as an actor, it's pure execution because you have to get the job done. But as a consumer, and this is because I'm referring to Poacher, when I saw all the 8 episodes, it's very difficult to take compassion or empathy out of it because that's the reason you're watching it. And that's the reason you're connecting to it. And in fact, it just kind of multiplies tenfold. That's what happened to me when I finished watching all 8 episodes of Poacher. I was just in emotionally and physically, and wanted to do whatever I could to make sure that, you know, be the loudest speaker so that everybody could know that the show is out on the 23rd of Feb and go watch it. Because at the end of the day, it is a crime show, but it's got a really, really hard emotional heart.
I will also, just a little point too, this is the first project I've ever made where I cried when I watched it, to be honest.
Wow.
It's true, and it's not because of what I made, it's because of what it reflects,
Yeah.
to be honest.
Maybe, you know, I've become more aware after becoming a mother. That's something that I can't really encapsulate how aware. And it's not really only because of that, because actually when I met you, I was pregnant at the time.
Yeah,
so it was not like I was really going there. I just responded as a human being.
Yeah.
And I've always gravitated towards stories as an actor that can influence. And at my production company, Eternal, we started with a subject like Darlings, wanting to entertain but leave some sort of message in your heart. This is the first time I'm backing an already created project like Poacher as an executive producer. Executive producer is just a fancy word. I'm actually just their, you know, mascot. You know, I'm there to just champion and cheer them on and be the loudest speaker in the room so that everybody knows it's out there for the world to see. There are certain sections of society or certain lives that really have nothing, you know, so they have to move with their day-to-day, and they don't have the time and means. And actually that's depicted beautifully in the show, where you see both sides. You see the life of the poacher as well, and in a very simple way, you just see their home, and just see what they have to go through. I actually started a children's clothing brand, sustainable children's clothing brand, and the intention was to build a young generation of future planeteers, because you start young and then they're the future.
The show does talk explicitly about why wiping out the Asian elephant affects everyone else.
Yeah.
In the world issue. And for me, by the way, with India, I think India has some of the best, if not the best, laws on earth for wildlife protection. And I think their enforcement agencies, government and NGO, are amongst the best in the world. I'm so moved by how impressive they are as human beings and as an institution. And yet still, to maintain that on a day-to-day basis in these wild ecosystems is a gargantuan task. So I'm showing, even when the laws are great, and even when the system is actually geared in a great way academically towards solving it, when you have 1.344x billion people in that environment, and you have so many species, charismatic or not, in that subcontinent, it's just the maintaining game, the maintenance game is almost impossible.
Let people say what they have to say. Let us as voices who can influence in a creative medium just make you feel. And if you feel something, then that's great. That's all that we can really do.